Well, thank you, Mamta. Hello there. That was actually much nicer than anything I'm going to say, so we could really just kind of call it a day with that. But this is, I think, my fourth visit to campus, and it's great to be down here. Every time I come down here, I am more and more inspired by the potential I see at Rollins, more and more thrilled that Peg and I have this opportunity to join this community. I thought I'd use this time to quite informally let you get to know me and Peg a little bit, because we're going to be working so closely together for the coming years, all for Rollins. And let me say that, Mamta is one of the reasons I'm here. I mean, the quality of people that I met and got to know on the Presidential Search Committee that represented the college in that process, led me to believe that this is a place where Peg and I could not only find a home, but that we could deeply believe in. They were our wonderful people, and they did a great job representing you, and they were my first introduction to Rollins. Even really before I knew anything about campus or the way it felt here, I got to know Rollins through the people of Rollins, and everything I met there said yes. So let me give you just a little autobiography about how I come to do this work and why. And maybe the first place to start is that I am a true believer in liberal education, and I'm a product of liberal education. I went to St. Lawrence University as an undergraduate, and that is a liberal arts college that is the farthest away from Rollins that you can possibly find on a map. Actually, St. Lawrence used to make it, used to talk about itself as the American liberal arts college closest to a foreign capital. That was its claim. And it's in the very far north. I mean, it's north of the Adirondack Mountains in New York, very close to the St. Lawrence Seaway. And when it came time for me to go to college, I looked at a few. I was a recruited basketball player, but really it was written in the stars that I would go to St. Lawrence because my brothers went to St. Lawrence and my father went to St. Lawrence. And actually my father graduated from there in 1939. And St. Lawrence provided a wonderful liberal education for me. I went there knowing that I wanted to be a doctor because my mom told me so. And I did. I leapt into pre-med and majored in biology. And when I was sort of pretty much through the major in biology, I was not satisfied yet. I still had this quest for learning. And I was in a liberal arts college where I could explore other realms, other areas of inquiry. So I took courses in art history and in political science and in economics and in history. And then I came upon this discipline called philosophy. And I thought, boy, these are really good questions. These are really important questions. And so I dug in there too. And when I graduated from St. Lawrence, I didn't know whether I was going to go to medical school or on to study philosophy further. And so I went to live with family friends in Germany for a year to learn German and kind of sort out my future. And as I was living over there, I came upon a program at the University of Chicago that had a specialty in philosophy of biology. And I thought, okay, seems to be coming together pretty well here. But in the meantime, I want to back up a little bit, because in the meantime, I actually met Peg on the first day of orientation. I know, isn't that nice? So at St. Lawrence, they have a tradition where the whole first-year class gathers in the quad on the first evening of being there, and lights a candle and holds hands and learns to sing the alma mater. And who was I holding hands with but Peg? So, yeah. So that we were good friends, and then had a wonderful relationship at St. Lawrence. And when we graduated, I said I went to Germany to study German, searching for my future, and Peg went to Wall Street because she knew what her future was. And boy, did I miss her. And I'm not going to reveal too much more, but eventually we got married. She might reveal more, and then I'll be embarrassed. But let's just say that I was advanced in my thinking about being ready to be married, and but it worked out. It worked out great. That was, I don't know, 35 years ago or something like that. Close to that. So back to sort of what we do, what I do, and why. When I was finishing up my PhD in philosophy at the University of Chicago, I really wanted to be a professor. I believed then, as I do now, that the mission of a liberal arts college, developing the minds and characters and hearts of the next generation of leaders for our nation and the world. I mean, I find there's no higher calling, and you are all part of that calling at Rollins. And so I wanted for that to be my career. And when you get a PhD in philosophy and are seeking a tenure-track job, it's actually not like you have a huge number of possibilities out there. But as it turned out, I wound up back at St. Lawrence as a professor, and was a professor there for 20-some years. And actually a professor, and the way my whole career has evolved is I love teaching, and I'm passionate about the research questions that I've thrown myself into over the years, but I've always had a quest for creating new ways to realize the mission of the college. And so throughout my career, I've bounced back and forth between being in the classroom and in a library, doing my teaching and research, and being an administrator, building programs. And so at St. Lawrence, I originally was part of building our first year program there. And then I went back to the department and got promoted, and then eventually I was the vice president of academic affairs and the dean of the faculty at St. Lawrence, which was very rewarding work. And of course, since I went there and my family went there, everybody had figured that Peg and I were lifers at St. Lawrence. And in fact, we probably did too. And yet, I got a call from the College of Worcester and started a conversation with the search committee in a way that unfolded in ways not too unlike Rollins, because it's not like I was eager to leave. I was deeply engaged in meaningful work, but the mission and the work to be done at the College of Worcester felt like a calling. And Peg and I made the decision to go to the College of Worcester, and we've been there for 8 years. We're very happy there. It's a fine liberal arts college. But when I started to have the conversation with Rollins, and I saw the potential here, and I saw the quality, the legacy, the richness of Rollins College, Peg and I both found this an extremely exciting opportunity. So why is that? Let me just say a couple things about that. First of all, I am sure that the future of liberal education is entirely contained within the idea of preparing students to be global citizens and responsible leaders. And so Rollins' articulation of its mission speaks directly to my values and directly to the work I've done for 35 years or so. So I think Rollins' mission is perfectly situated for what the world needs now and the kind of education that our students need now. I also think that Rollins being here in Winter Park, being in Central Florida, makes it, I believe this is a kind of nexus for the flows of people and ideas for the next century that are going to make Rollins extremely well situated to thrive. The families, the students who are looking for a liberal education, the families and where they live and are looking to go, and how Rollins is situated culturally and geographically here in Central Florida. I think that there's tremendous potential. I also will say that I find the organization of Rollins to be very promising. I mean, I'm used to being at single-focused liberal arts colleges, St. Lawrence and Worcester, and the fact that Rollins has the Holt School, the fact that it has the Crummer School of Business, the fact that it has the Arts and Sciences and the College of Professional Studies, I actually find to be a very compelling organizational model that situates Rollins with more promise than a lot of our peer institutions. I think that there's a kind of possible agility there to speak to different students seeking a liberal education of the quality that Rollins provides, whatever avenue they take to pursue that liberal education. And here I include Crummer. I mean, I think that it should mean something to have a Rollins degree. If you meet somebody that has a Rollins degree, whether they took it from Crummer or Holt or the College of Arts and Sciences or the College of Professional Studies, it should mean something, and it should mean that you have been educated to be a global citizen and a responsible leader. But to have that variety of ways to go about that single mission, I think, is a very compelling basis for a strategy. So we're here to do that, and we can't wait to get here. I do have this other day job right now that I need to finish up on, and I am. I'm working hard to bring some things to closure at Worcester. I'm very pleased to say that, you know, we're leaving Worcester in great shape. It's having a great year in admissions. It's got a great balance sheet. Ron Corvus will appreciate that Worcester is about to undertake a $40 million science building, and we're working with EYP as architects, and we're in the design phase. And what I promised Worcester is that before I leave, we will have raised every dollar of that $40 million, and I think we're going to make it. So I think we're leaving it in good shape, but we can't wait to get here. And we've been, like I said, I think I've been down 4 times, and we've been meeting with people. It will take us some time, but I will spend time with each and every person in this room. Either you will be at Peg's in my home for some event or another, because we will be opening the Barker House really as the community center for the college. The reason the president lives on campus is because it's part of our duty, Peg's and my duty and joy, to build a sense of community here at Rollins, because we can only deliver on the mission I'm talking about if we all do that together. The thing about a residential liberal arts college is that every one of us is contributing to the liberal education of our students. This is not a place where the mission is wholly discharged by what the faculty do in the classroom. And incredibly important as that is, it's what each of you do. For Rollins to work and deliver on our mission, what each and every one of you do has to be done at the highest level of performance and care and intentionality and focus on our core mission. So to do that, we have to be in relation with each other. We have to know one another. We have to be able to go across the aisle and have conversations with people who work in different departments and divisions and have different roles. And to do that, we need to have rich, healthy relationships. We have to be a community. And that's what I hope we will build together when we come to Rollins. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask Peg to say a couple words of introduction so that you can get to know her a bit too. And then we'll open the floor for questions or comments or advice. Because now is certainly a time when we are very eager to listen about the things we need to be paying attention to at Rollins. So Peg, here, now you get the mic.
Hi, I'm Peg Cornwell. So a little bit about my background. As Grant mentioned, we went to St. Lawrence University together. Yes, I'll leave it at that. Later, more. After St. Lawrence, I was an economics major at St. Lawrence University. So I went on into commercial banking. I became a commercial lending officer for Chemical Bank, which is a company that doesn't exist anymore, in Chicago. And I worked for their food and pharmaceutical area. So I called on the Fortune 500 food and pharmaceutical companies in Chicago. And we did that for about 6 years. And then I came home one day and I grabbed Grant and I said, "That's it. I've had enough." So and he was through his pretty close to having his PhD done. So that's when he got the job at St. Lawrence, and so we moved there. And I had several roles at St. Lawrence. The first one was I joined the career planning office, and I was in that office for 15 years, and that ran the office for 10. And then after we had a sabbatical with Grant's work and our children for 6 months in St. Kitts for doing his research. Then we came back and I started a leadership program. So I created a co-curricular and curricular leadership development program, which was really fun because I got to work very closely with students and helping them translate their liberal arts skills into actual practice, which was really fun for me. I enjoyed. And then we came to Worcester, and at Worcester, I changed hats slightly. When we got there, the trustees had just had a task force on parents. Should we have a parents program? How should we include parents? What should we do with parents? And they decided, yes, they should do something with parents. And Grant said, I know somebody who would do something with parents. So I developed a parents program there. So we have a parents council of which all parents who have a student at Worcester are part of. And then if you want to work a little more closely with the college, we have a Parents Leadership Council, which is about 300 parents who help us further the mission of the college. So they help with admissions and career planning and welcome committees, and they're great. And so I've worked with them for the past 8 years. In between all of that, we had some children. I should share those with you. We currently have 2 sons. Our youngest son is a senior at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. We're going to his graduation next month, and he is a biomedical engineering student. So we understand every word individually, but when he puts them together in a complete sentence, we have no idea what he's talking about. But so his hope is to take a year off and then go on to medical school. And our older son, his name is Tosh, sorry. And the older son's name is Kelsey. That's my maiden name. He's a boy. He's 6'6", 220 pounds. You wouldn't confuse him for a girl. But he went to Bates College, and he graduated 2 years ago. And then Bates in the house. Good, that's good. And then he went on and got his master's degree in archaeology, in Mediterranean archaeology in London for a year. And then he decided he'd like to work for a while if he goes on for his PhD. So he's currently working in international education, living in Boston. 21 and 25. So those are sons. And so what will I do here? I hope to do a lot of the same things that we were doing at Worcester, opening our home up, community engagement, maybe getting involved with parents. And so, but thank you.
Great. Thank you. So now it's your turn. Would anybody like to ask a question or offer a comment? Give advice? Well, it's nice of you to say. You can't be sure yet, can you? You know, I'm a professor of 20 years. I'm used to this. I will call on you. Please.
Do you prefer Dr. Cornwell or President Cornwell? What should we call you?
I definitely prefer Grant. Yeah, I think that works. Please. I think for students, they should probably call me President Cornwell, but please, I am your colleague. We are doing this work together. I'm Grant. Back there.
I just wanted to know what your key priorities are for when you arrive on campus. Have you determined what those are yet?
The question was, what are my priorities when I arrive on campus? And I certainly am thinking about that all the time. I'm very clear on my first priority, and that is to listen to all of you, and to listen to the faculty, and to listen to the students. I will tell you, I do not come here with a vision for Rollins. And if I were to say that I had a vision for Rollins, you should be very nervous, because I don't know Rollins well enough to have a vision for it. I like crafting vision. I will develop a vision with you for Rollins, but I certainly don't come to you with it fully cooked. So my first priority is really to get to know Rollins deeply, so that the blue and gold are running through my veins. Because one of the things that a president has to do is a president has to be a storyteller who can help all of Rollins' constituencies understand and constantly be reminded of our core mission. And so those stories have to come from a very deep understanding of the culture of a place and its strategic issues. And so the first thing I will be doing is just listening to you tell me stories about Rollins, what's working, what's broken, what's important, what needs doing. That's really my top priority. After that, we will together engage in a process of strategic planning to chart the future of Rollins together. And it will be an inclusive process in which each of you will have a role, faculty will have a role, students will have some role. We will decide what we're going to do differently to move Rollins from where it is now to where we want it to be, where we want it to go. And that will take, this is going to unfold over a couple years, really. This is not going to be something that you can rush. So my second priority then is to begin a strategic planning process for the college. And then it will be to implement that plan and really get Rollins moving forward in creative, compelling ways for the future. And I look forward to that. Maybe I will say one thing that is an immediate priority, and that is very shortly, the Board of Trustees and Craig McAllister will organize and launch a search for a vice president for enrollment. And that is at my request. As I look at Rollins' strategic situation, and I know what's happening out there in the landscape of higher education, we need strategic leadership of great sophistication and experience helping us understand how to move Rollins forward in the admissions markets that we're in. And so we'll be searching for that leadership right away. So that's very much an immediate and top priority. So, great question. That's what I would say in response. Other comments or questions? Yes?
I've got a microphone here for you. Can you pass this down?
I'm loud. What attracted you to Rollins? What was the thing that really made you say, I want to come here? Was it the weather? Was it the mouse? Was it what really was it about Rollins that you said, I want to be there?
Yeah. What it really was the mission. Rollins' understanding of its core purpose is what brings me here. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what I go to bed thinking about at night. That's the thing I'm most passionate about. That it is situated where it is in Winter Park, I think it is compelling. That it has resources to bring to a strategy is attractive to me, compelling. But really, at the end of the day, it's that I believe the mission of Rollins is something that I can contribute to and that I believe in with every fiber of my being. So that's why I came to Rollins. Yes, I like golf, okay. But that's way secondary. Other comments or questions? Tom.
Grant, I wonder if you could speak to what obligation we as an institution have to, what do we owe the community? What do we owe Central Florida, if anything?
Yes. What do we owe the community? I would put it a little, I'm going to frame my answer differently exactly than your question, because our highest ethical responsibility is to our students, and so I'm going to rank sort of our duties, if you will. I think that our chief duty that should guide us every day is the liberal education and well-being and development of our students. That's why we're here. That's why we have revenue. That's why we have this piece of real estate. That's why Rollins exists, is the liberal education for our students. And we can never be distracted with other good things that Rollins might do. We're here to educate our students. To do that, I see as our second sort of line of responsibility is to the faculty and staff that make that possible. Because in order to discharge our mission with integrity, we need a faculty and staff that feels valued, that has a clear sense of purpose, and that is supported in their work to deliver on our mission. Now, when it comes to Winter Park or Central Florida, what are our responsibilities there? Well, we are an institution of higher learning, and we have people in the faculty and in the students that are being trained to be problem solvers. And one of the ways you learn to solve problems in the real world is by throwing yourself into them and learning through experience. And so I see Worcester faculty and staff and students connected to larger Central Florida and the social issues here as engaged learners, coming out of the classroom, going to work in the community to help make this a better place, because that's also part of what it means to be a global citizen and responsible leader, is to actually be engaged in the community doing good work. So you see, though, I have to get there through what I think our calling to our central purpose is, but we do get there. So, thank you.
Yes, you do. You do. So they can.
Yes, I do.
Good afternoon. Oh, that's really loud. Good afternoon. I'm Meredith. I am with our Center for Leadership and Community Engagement. So I'm really excited that you spoke a lot in regards to building community amongst us here. Something that is at the spirit, I think, of Rollins is our familial, community-oriented people. We connect on a different level. Relationships are really important to us here. And so I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to what that looks like to you, joining us as a part of our Rollins family, whether it's in regards to our traditions or our relationships or deepening our community spirit, what that looks like for both you and Peg during your first few months here.
Right. Well, we're really excited to join this community, and that means to be part of all those traditions and activities. I mean, you will see Peg and me around campus at just about at everything we can manage to get to. Every lecture, athletic event, theater performance, activity that's going on, because we very much want to be part of this community. And being part of this community also, going back to Tom's question, means that we also intend to be an active part of the Winter Park community and the larger Central Florida community. And we greatly look forward to that. Like I said, you know, liberal arts colleges have come through a period where the American public has been questioning the value of what goes on here. And what I know to be true is the value of what goes on here is found in and through the communities that these are. We have a sense of community. These are very, very special communities because they're intentional communities, right? We all come together, like I said, for one purpose, the liberal education of our students. So we can count on the fact that everybody here is here for the same reason. That is a basis of community. And interacting around that is a big part of the president's job. And so you can look for us to do that. Thanks.
Hi, Grant. I'm Jennifer DeWitt. I believe we've met before.
Yes, we have.
I'm social media manager for the college, and as most people in this room know, I like putting people on the spot a little bit. I would like to know, if you don't mind, just a bit of your insight or thoughts on blended learning, online learning, distance learning, and how it falls in alignment with our mission and Rollins' future, and the way that we care so much for our students and how that translates in the classroom and the potential for that going online. Is that even possible?
Sure.
What are your thoughts?
Sure, happy to speak to that. It's a question I've thought about for decades, actually. I served for a time on the National Advisory Board of Nightly, which is the organization that was supposed to be promoting digital learning in the liberal arts environment. And here's what I think today. I mean, it can change because technology is changing, and as technology changes, what's possible changes in terms of the quality of education, the quality of human interaction that can take place. But here's what I think: blended learning. I think, I'm sure is already going on here, because by blended learning, what I understand is that faculty are using traditional pedagogical modes blended with digital modes of instruction. And of course, we should be constantly exploring and deploying what's out there to advance our mission. Insofar as technology can help students learn more, better, deeper, faster, it should be used. In terms of online teaching replacing what we do, or even being an augmentation to what we do that is strictly online learning, I'm skeptical because I think that the learning that takes place in a Rollins context is what I talk about as relational learning. It's learning that takes place in dialogue between faculty and students and between students and students. And I understand and I participate in a lot of electronic relationships. And I understand that social media is a form of human relation. But at least as far as I see and as far as I experience it, I still believe in human relations that are face-to-face, body-to-body, in the same space. Yeah, in real life, right, yeah. And so, you know, and I actually think that that's how we have to hang on, we want to hang on to that as a differentiator, because I think it would be a harder case to say, well, you could go to the University of Florida and take this online course, or you could come to Rollins and take this online course. I mean, why Rollins in that case? If it's an online course, it's an online course. Whereas what Rollins brings is the dimension of human relation. So I enjoy technology. I think it's fun. I think it's powerful. I think we have to remain absolutely attuned to deploying it where it can advance our mission. But I don't see us moving our mission online. That's my 2 cents. Yeah.
Hello, Grant. My name is Jay. I am very, very excited to listen to your skepticism about online courses. Join the club. I just wanted to ask, you talked about our responsibility to the students as the first and the foremost. I wanted you to expand on that a little bit regarding scholarship, research, leadership, and service, how they all can come together for the students. Thank you.
Yes, right. Well, so I'll try and answer, and if I don't completely address your concern, then let me know. But are you talking about student scholarship or faculty scholarship? Student scholarship, right. Well, what I mean by a liberal education is rigorously academic. And so what I believe is happening in the classroom or through relationships with faculty and others is that students are learning the methods of research and problem solving in the disciplines so that they can join the conversations that are going on at a very deep level about resolving the problems in front of humanity. And that ranges from what happens in the philosophy classroom to what happens in biology to what happens in political science and what happens in communication and international business. So we don't do our students any favor whatsoever if we have anything but the highest expectations for their academic engagement. Because by challenging them and having very high expectations, we are actually promoting their growth and development. And so whenever I speak to students, you will hear me encourage them to be fully committed to their core purpose for being here, which is their own liberal education. And for me, that involves tremendous commitment to academic rigor and engagement. Do you want to say more? Yes. Yeah.
Because as you have all heard us talk about how we are one big community and we believe in fostering relationships, I was just wondering what your take would be on helping students connect this their academic experience to leadership experiences and service experiences.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so now let me go there. Right, exactly. I see what you're saying now, right. Again, that's a reason to choose a liberal arts college like Rollins, because we can provide that bridging between the classroom and learning outside the classroom. And the learning outside the classroom is experiential learning. And that is done by taking what they're learning in their lives and how they're developing it and applying it to problem solving on the ground through service, through community engagement. And I think Rollins is distinguished in that. And I look forward to really learning more about all of the ways Rollins already does that well. But I see all of those as modes of delivery. They're all modes of delivering on our mission for students. And they're connected, integrated. They're all simply us delivering on what we promise our students. So, thank you.
I'll
Maybe a
pass
couple
this one
more?
down.
Wait, I heard somebody say something. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
That's okay. My name is Leslie Fair. I'm the Gift and Records Manager in the Institutional Advancement Division. Hi. I have a two-part question. One, what are some of the social issues that are closest to your heart? And two, what do you and Peg do for fun other than golf?
Work. No, Peg and I, we're outdoors people. And one of the things that we always enjoyed in upstate New York is nature. And in Ohio, I mean, there is nature, but it's flat and it has corn all over it. So we're actually attracted to the outdoor opportunities down here. And we're also a family of sailors. We brought our boys up sailing, and that's been a kind of experiential learning for them that we also enjoy a great deal. And so we do that for fun. Okay, so I was a college basketball player, and I still play basketball for fun. Before I said yes to Rollins, I had to make sure that there was there was a faculty staff sort of noontime basketball thing happening here. And I'm assured that there is. I play basketball with both of our boys play basketball, and so whenever we get to play together, that's fun. Okay, I'm 57. I last dunked when I was 50, but they saw it. And sort of since then, I'm officially grounded now. You know, but we enjoy that. But you asked about sort of our social concerns and our engagements there. I'm very pleased to find Rollins's environmental values. Again, I think as a community, we should model practices that we believe are part of the future of global citizenship and responsible leadership. And so environmental sustainability practices, I think, need to be part of the way we live and work together. That's very important to Peg and myself. Peg has never seen a plastic bottle that she can abide. So these kinds of concerns are very, very near and dear to her heart, for sure. More broadly, as I think about our nation and the world, I am quite certain that the growing inequality in wealth is a growing social issue for our nation and the world that we will have to reckon with. And again, Rollins should be part of that solution, both by modeling practices that are responsible, and also by teaching our students to understand, how does this happen? What are the dynamics of globalization, the dynamics of capitalism that produce this kind of concentration of wealth? How can they be mitigated or intervened in? Because that's essential for the future of humanity. So those are some of the things I worry about a lot. Probably the thing I worry about most regularly falls under the big umbrella of intercultural relations. When I look at the world that our students will join and lead, I see all kinds of sources of division around racial identity, ethnic identity, identity of faith traditions, And Rollins needs to be a place that equips students both to understand those dynamics and to positively join them and to be forces of positive change with regard to intercultural relations. So those are three things that are on my mind all the time.
Hi, Grant. I'm Maureen from Ron Corvus's Division of Institutional Advancement. Congratulations on your success fundraising $40 million for your new building at Worcester. That excites us in our division. You've shared with us two things that already tell us that you're going to be a great fundraiser, that you're going to be out in the community, engaged, you're going to be going to every single thing you can, having conversations with faculty, with students, being visible, being present, opening your home. And you're a scientist by training, and our job does require some scientific thought and method and research, so we're excited that you love that as well. I'd love for you to share with us a little bit about your philosophies as a fundraiser and maybe some things that you and Peg are looking forward to doing here at Rollins in that area.
Sure. I think fundraising is fun, first of all. Start there. Because I find it so, I mean, some people are uncomfortable asking for money. I don't get that because you know why? And this is philosophical. I am quite certain for those people that have discretionary wealth, whether it's a small amount or a large, I am dead sure that there's nothing better that they can do with it to advance humanity than investing in our future leaders in the form of a Rollins education. So I can always, you know, I feel like I'm giving people the opportunity to contribute to the future of humanity. They're lucky they get to give money to Rollins. You know? So that's, you know, that's why I take pleasure in that work. And it's also, you know, there's also something a little bit competitive about it. It's kind of fun to be able to sort of put out a big goal and work to achieve it. So I find those things very satisfying and rewarding. So thanks for the question. Maybe we'll take one or two more and then call it a day. Yes, please. Down here, please. He's been asking for a minute.
So you've mentioned a new role was enrollment, which is really big on the marketing side as well. You've talked about online learning, which are big trends that have gone on in the industry, but small liberal arts colleges have been maybe slow to embrace. Are there any other trends that you see coming down the line that we'll need to address in the near future?
Yeah. I want to address the way you framed that because I find it really interesting, and I'd like to put it a little differently. I don't think that liberal arts colleges are slow to embrace trends because they're clunky, you know? I actually think that we're not positioned to be at the cutting edge of the wave. The cutting edge of the wave is filled with risk. I mean, you know what happens when you go out in the ocean and to the cutting edge of the wave? You get tossed and tumbled and thrown against the bottom. And we're not situated to sort of ride that cutting edge of the wave, and I think that that's fine. Let the mistakes be made. Let it get sorted out there with those places that are more robustly resourced or that are larger, and then let us pay close attention to those trends to see where they're really going and what really works, and be agile enough to jump onto the wave when we're going to get a good ride out of it. So that's a slight reframing. What other major kind of trend is out there that I think we do need to pay attention to? And clearly, it is affordability and accessibility of college. You know, I haven't done the research at Rollins, but without doing the research, I'm quite certain it's true. The cost of attendance at Rollins has been going up faster than inflation for 20 years or more. And there are reasons for that. I understand them well. They're difficult to solve, but we have to get off of that addiction. we really have to think about delivering a high-quality education at a lower cost all the time to make sure that Rollins remains affordable and accessible to students that would benefit from a Rollins education. That means just deploying our resources through financial aid to make sure that we have a diverse community of learners here at Rollins, and that, I don't just mean racial, ethnic, and national diversity, I mean socioeconomic diversity. And doing that actually means that all of us, each of you, have to think about how to accomplish your most important work effectively and efficiently without waste and really at the lowest cost possible. Because, you know, as you might tell, what I think the mission of the college is discharged primarily through the work of faculty and student life people and coaches and conductors and, I mean, the people that are working closely and intimately with students on a day-to-day basis. Really, I mean, my role is only of instrumental value, right? The only reason that my work matters is because I make that work possible. And so I know I have to do my work, and I ask that you do your work in ways that is as efficient as possible so that we can actually maximize the proportion of our resources that we devote to our core mission. So that kind of way of thinking, that kind of way of thinking about the economy of Rollins is upon us, and it will be with us as long as we work here. And we need to embrace it and undertake it with a lot of commitment, even though it's hard every day. I know that. So that's a great question. These have all been great questions. Talking with you makes me all the more excited about being here. And we can't wait to arrive. That won't be until, I don't know, we haven't figured that out yet. We have to move. But we very much look forward to seeing you in the summer and can't wait to get started. Thank you very much.